We're talking about the Chevy Equinox. Let's take it for a drive. Let's talk about it. Okay, Ray, so tell us about the Chevy Equinox. You guys had it for quite some time.
We did have for a little while. We had the Chevy Equinox for about a week. And some stats here about it, right? So we got, well, not we, but stats are 16 miles city, 23 miles highway. So you pretty much spend about a little less than $3,000 a year on gas. It's all-wheel drive, tire pressure monitor. It has a rear vision camera, which is really cool. XM, which should be in every car nowadays, right?
Absolutely.
Had heated seats, so it was cold while we had the car, so that helped us a whole bunch. And I normally don't turn on the heated seats, but I did because it was cold in New York City. It has a 7-inch screen, has Bluetooth, it has a blind spot mirrors, which are freaking awesome, and cruise control, which again should be on every vehicle. I mean, in my opinion, at least. And the pros, OnStar. OnStar, it's a Chevy vehicle, it's a GM vehicle, so it had OnStar installed, and it was pretty awesome. It had a cockpit-style seating, so when you sat inside the car, it almost felt like you were sitting inside like a jet fighter or one of those Formula One racing cars, which was kind of cool at first, but got a little annoying. Information screen has a lot of information on there, so you will be overwhelmed with information to give you. And that's not a bad thing either. That's actually a pretty nice thing because the layout is very, very nice. What I really liked about it the most, though, is it has real-time traffic messages that were coming in from XM radio, which is really cool. And again, the blind spot mirrors are fantastic. And my wife said that when she took the car seat out of our car, the Honda Civic, and put it into the Chevy Equinox, she said it was really, really, really easy. And that means huge things when we say, honey, can we buy that car? And she says, of course you can.
Right.
And again, just the weather notifications coming in from XM, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad car.
I really like the way it looks. It's a really, really pretty car. The interior. Which model did you have?
We had the LTZ as in zebra.
Ah, okay.
So I believe that was a high-end car.
It had two colors. Had a 2-color interior.
Yeah. Yeah, it had 2-color interior. I mean, it was, listen, the car, what's interesting though, right? And Jesse made a good point about this, right? Is that the car on the outside, the exterior looks really, really big.
Right.
And then when you get into the car, it's like it shrinks. And we felt kind of like, again, you have that cockpit style, seating in there. And it was okay and was kind of cool for a little while, but then after a while, it got kind of annoying. So
yeah, I mean, I happen to like that. I definitely like the SUVs, the crossover type vehicles. I think that when you have, you need some 4-wheel drive, especially in the New York City area or any major city where the potholes are just, especially when it snows. I mean, without a doubt, you need that. But I think that for the most part, I really think the interior is gorgeous. I know that they're going kind of Ford style on it, right? They're really upping the technological integration with all the GM vehicles now.
It was actually nice. It really was.
And so
it wasn't distracting.
On average, so let's look at some of the major features that it has, let's say, over its competitors. So if you're looking in that space, which is basically not a full-size SUV, it's a mid-size.
Yeah, so the competitors are, the Ford Escape, the Kia Sorento, and the Honda CR-V. Right. I'm a Honda fan. In all sincerity, we have a Honda Civic for a couple of years now. We really, really like the car. We just finished driving or test driving the Honda CR-V and the new one for 2012, and that thing is just beautiful and ridiculous. So would I purchase the Equinox over the CR-V? Unfortunately, I wouldn't. It comes down to choice, just because we're big Honda fans in our family. But just going back a little bit for some of the cons. The braking was really, really slow, and what I mean by that is like when you hit the brake, you really had to hit the brake. I mean, for the car to slow down. So that was when I first got to the car and I hit the brake, it was kind of slowing down, but not stopping. And I was like, whoa! And I just pushed it harder, and then the car finally, thankfully, finally stopped.
That,
So that was a little bit weird for us.
that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's always a good thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on the show. Yeah, it would be someone in the hospital. And wow, man, it's a heavy SUV. I can't tell you how if it's a 1 ton vehicle, a ton and a half vehicle, whatever. But when we turned, I mean, it's just you had to put some muscle behind it. You had to really just turn that steering wheel to make that left or right turn. And it wasn't just me, and I thought maybe it was just me, maybe because I'm a spaz, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. My wife got behind the car, and she said the exact same thing.
She
goes,
said you were a spaz, or she said that?
She said I'm a spaz. She said, "Ray, you're a spaz." And yes, you're right. This car is very, very heavy, and it's tough to make these turns.
And honestly, that's a common criticism, especially for the SUV, for these mid-range cars. If you have the larger SUVs like we had the Ford Explorer, you'll find often that the brakes are phenomenal on them. But when you have these smaller SUVs, sometimes you find, especially on minivans are the biggest thing, especially like the Chrysler Town and Country. The wheels are not designed at the same size as the brakes. Like the brakes are not large enough to stop a vehicle of that weight. Meaning you'll burn through brakes really quickly. So every 2 years you'll be replacing some part of it. I don't know if that's the case for the Chevy Equinox, but similar cars have had issues with that as well.
I don't know. I mean, I know that the handling on the CRV was very, very nice. It was very smooth, very fluid, very easy. I mean, making those turns into making a left turn, a right turn, was just very simple, very easy, almost effortless. But the Equinox, you had to put in some elbow grease in there. So So that's one thing. Another thing I don't like about the car. And for some reason, some of the stations weren't coming up with artist information, and there was only some. So I don't know if that was it might have been an XM issue. I don't know. I know every once in a while XM has these minor issues, which is not a real con, but something that I saw that was happening. So I wanted to mention that to our fans or to our audience here. And the only recommendation I could really make to GM or to Chevy to improve the car is just the cockpit style seating. To me, after a little while, it became kind of I felt claustrophobic after a while. So I don't know if it was just me. I like having a lot of room around me. But that cockpit style seating did afford you to have almost everything at arm's distance. And I'm a relatively short guy. Right? I'm like 5'6", and I could reach everything, which is really, really nice.
Because I'm a big fan usually of that cockpit type view, that everything is surrounding the driver.
Yeah. See, I mean, after a while, it just got I don't know why. Maybe I was in a bad mood. I don't know. It just kind of got on my nerves after a while. I was like, all right, enough already. You know what it was, man? Is every time I got out of the Equinox, I kind of had I had a rock and then jump out. That's how I felt. Then again, I'm a short guy. I mean, I'm repeat that again. I'm 5'6".
So what you need is like a jungle gym rope, so you could just swing out.
Possibly
in a ball pit.
Chevy, if you guys throw a bunch of cord in there, I will give this car 5 stars. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe because I'm just short. Maybe my legs are short. I don't know. But that's what it was. That's what was annoying me about the car, is the fact that I had to kind of like rock and then leap out of the car. And obviously, this is not literal. I'm being figurative here. I just had a little issue getting out of the car and into the car, and I thought it had to do with the fact that the cockpit style seating. So, and in the car, price point, we're talking about a little bit over $33,000. So it's a little bit on the steep side.
These cars are expensive.
They are. But you know what? They're packed with so much stuff nowadays, especially the tech. If you're really into that kind of stuff, if you really love the tech of cars, then you know what? I think you're willing to pay the extra money.
And how do you like the ride? Rather, was it a decent ride?
It was a fine ride. Yeah, it wasn't. It was It was a fine for an SUV or for a crossover or for a small SUV, whatever you want to call these vehicles. It wasn't a terrible ride. It was actually a nice ride.
And,
So,
and
yeah.
what about noise in the cabin?
No, no, it was again, it was just nice. Everything was just
So all
nice.
around a
There was,
decent car. It's you had
yeah,
a few
all around.
expectations that you haven't
Yeah.
had met, but
Yeah, it was all around a decent car. There are a few things that I wish, that could have been improved on. But not for nothing. I would, I give the car 3 out of 5 remotes, and I think GM did a nice job. And I appreciate the fact that GM is putting more and more tech. I'm sorry, Chevrolet, same company, right? Chevrolet is putting more and more tech into their cars, and OnStar rules. That's just it. OnStar just rules. So, guys, thank you so much. Nice car, love OnStar, and bungee
more
cord.
bungee cords,
For
more
Ray
ball
Ray.
pits.
For Ray Ray.
Later. As always, thanks for watching. Only cool people press subscribe. Right here. That thing right there.
Calling it pretty much a combination phone, tablet. That's calling it a tablet. That's wrong.
Or it could be a tart. It's a tablet smartphone.
That sounds kind of